I spend most of my time viewing what I want from the outside. I comb it over like it's the scene of a crime.
Okay. I just decided I needed to go live. And so Instagram, I'm live on Instagram, I'm live on all the channels. Let me know if you're here when you jump on. I thought it was important for us to have a little bit of a conversation today because of what happened in the stock market. I want to have a frank chat, y'all. Good to have you on, Lisa. So here's the deal. We had a heck of a ride in the stock market today. If you weren't watching, we were fine until the last hour or so. And then all of a sudden things they just completely got crushed. I mean, the market dropped 1,100 points in one day. NASDAQ dropped 700 points. S&P 500 dropped 178 points. It was bad, but was it? I'm just going to get some percentages so you can see the percentages here. Come on, give me a percentage. There we go. So 2.5% on the Dow Jones, 3.5% on NASDAQ, 3% on the S&P 500, almost 3% on the New York Stock Exchange. So that's what happened today. Why did it happen? What happened? Listen, y'all, I lost 100. This happened in the last hour. And I want us to have a real conversation about this, why it's important, what to do. When you see the market drop like this, what do you do? Because truth be told, it's a painful day. In that last hour, I lost 170 grand. Okay, now, did I really lose it? No, I didn't, because I didn't sell. Could it go down more? Sure. Is it going to go back up? Absolutely. The market goes up 8 out of 10 years. And here's the thing to understand, that, and I think this is really important to relook at it. I went back and I looked at data going back to 2000. All right. And I looked at every year and said, what happened during the year? Because here's what happened. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, came out and said, we're going to reduce interest rates by 1/4 point. That's good news. We're going to reduce interest rates. Interest rates should come down. Okay, great news. But then he goes on to say that in 2025, he anticipates that there will be fewer rate reductions. In other words, we're not going to start to get our interest rates down further very, very quickly in 2025. He anticipated maybe 2 rate decreases in 2025, whereas I think the market was anticipating twice that, about 4 rate decreases, but who knows? Okay, the market makes their predictions and that kind of thing. And what I don't want to do, and I don't want to fuel any kind of fear or any kind of thing, I want you to have real conversations. I got people from Tokyo. Oh my God. And so it's good to have you here. So I don't want you to get all panicked. I want to give you some stats. I want to give you some data. I want to tell you what to do. I want what you should be thinking. It's hard not to get panicked. It's hard to look at the big red numbers and go, oh my gosh, my 401k, but I think that there's a couple things I want you to think about. One, historically, during a year, there are intra-year declines. It happens. When I look back at the data from 2000 to 2023, so effectively 24 years. Okay, six of those years they all had declines. But in only six of those years did the market end up down. So 2001, 2002, okay, we know that. 2008, we knew that. Okay, 2017 and 18, and then 2022. All of those ended up down. So that you had a decline in the market and the market ended up down. But you know what that means? 18 years out of 24, even though there was a decline, the market ended up. We cannot take what happened in a day and extrapolate as if it's going to be our future. What we need to do is take in the historical patterns. Now, history is the best predictor of the future because we don't have anything better. And start to ask, is there a fundamental shift and change in our economic structure? And the only change we had was that Jerome Powell said, we probably won't do as many rate decreases in 2025. That's all he said. Okay. Does it change the structure of business? No, not really. I mean, if we have a quarter point decrease, businesses will be more profitable because the interest rate that they pay is going to go down. Is it going to go down as fast in 2025? No, it probably won't. That's okay. Okay. My point is that this is what happens. But the challenge happens is when you turn around. Now, remember what I say, and I explain it in my book, Building Your Money Machine, okay, that you start with the vision of your life. And that vision informs a plan. That plan defines a strategy. That strategy will set your tactics, and the tactics will determine your actions. If we decide to take action, based on what happened in one day, like if I freaked out and said, sell and put to cash. Now, I did that years ago. It cost me millions because I was scared to get back in. If I allow panic and emotion to take hold, and I allow it to get me scared out of the market, and I sit on the sidelines, then I don't have a chance of a recovery, and I certainly don't have a chance for growth because I'm sitting on the sidelines. And so what we need to do is, I get it, the emotions go up. I am human. Y'all, when I saw the red numbers, I go, oh crap, this is not going to be a good day. Okay. Did I run for the hills? No. Was there an urge to do it? Maybe a little bit, just because I'm human. Okay. But I understand the market. Market goes up 8 out of 10 years, 18 years out of 24 years when there was an inter-year decline, a decline somewhere in the middle of the year, the years ended up. Okay. Our year this year is up over 20%. Okay. We declined 2. Y'all, put it in perspective. Here's the challenge that I see. We do not have the capacity or the capability to predict exactly what the market will do, when, how long, and how far. I can tell you that the market will correct. I just can't tell you when. I can't tell you how far. I can't tell you how long. And if someone proposes and says that they can with some sort of accuracy, they're con. Run. I'm being frank with you. All right. So it's important for us to understand perspective and why I do my show and why I do the things I do is to make sure that you have some sanity and some stability in your thinking around your money. Because there is going to be a lot of fear mongering. Why? Because it gets viewers, it gets eyeballs, it gets engagement, and it gets advertisers and ratings. I don't want that for you. Okay? Am I making changes because of something that happened today? No, I'm not. Well, I might. And what I might be doing is actually buying more. Y'all, when there is a sale at Nordstrom's, you're not running out the door, you're running in the door. I'm looking at prices on companies that went way up. Like if I look at Tesla right now, Tesla dropped 40 points. But in recent days, Let's just look at it here. In recent days, it has gone. So since the beginning of the month, so in the last 10 days, it has literally gone up 120 points, but now it dropped 40. I'm not saying to buy it. I'm just saying put it in the proper perspective. Here's the other thing I want you to understand and think about. My portfolio, our portfolio is built in a certain way based on our facts, based on our circumstances, based on our age, our stage, and everything we're trying to do. It's based on a plan, okay? That portfolio structure was built not to just sustain itself during an up market. It was built to sustain itself during a down market, a sideways market, and in an overall environment based on what we're trying to accomplish. If you have a properly structured portfolio, when you have a properly structured portfolio, you have the opportunity to know that things that it will work in up markets, down markets, sideways markets. It will protect you when things get bad. It will grow with you when things get good. But we do not, if we don't have the proper structure, if we don't have the proper asset allocation, diversification, and the things in place, or we keep changing it, then we're not thinking long term. We're making emotional decisions around the short term. That's where we start to get into a problem. Let me give you some data. They did a 20-year study. If you put money into the S&P 500 over 20 years, $10,000, it would have gone up to about $66,000. Now I am going off memory, so the numbers might be slightly different, but the gist of it is this: $66,000. So it went up 6 times, almost 7 times in 20 years. Okay. If you got panicked and got in and out of the market, and you missed 10 of the best days, 10 days out of 20 years, 10 days out of 20 years. If I miss 10 days out of 20 years, that $66,000 gets cut in half. Why? Because you missed 10 of the best days. The market grows in fits and starts. The market will have really good days. It'll have really bad days. And then the rest of the time it's trudging along. But if I'm not in the game when it goes up, I don't participate. I miss 10 days out of 20 years and my returns get cut in half. And you know what? 7 of those days, they had the best days in the market in a down market. So just because the market's going up or just because the market's going down doesn't mean you start to predict to get in and out. There's another study that shows these active fund managers. These are the hedge fund managers. These are the people with the big computers, with the information. They got the algorithms. They have all the sophisticated people, and they've got the analysts, and they got the smart people, and the MBAs and the Wharton MBAs. They got all those people looking at it. And do you know that over a 15-year period, 84% of them are wrong? They're wrong. Long term, they cannot beat the market. So I hope that what you can do is to start to look at this and say, oh, it's a day in the market. And tomorrow, the market might go up. Tomorrow, it might go down. But do I think it's going to zero? No. Y'all, and I had a conversation with someone at a recent event where I spoke, where they thought, what happens if it all goes to zero? Y'all, if it all goes to zero, you're not worried about the market because Armageddon has just hit. And now we got to worry about something else. Okay, do I think all these companies are going to zero? No. They're solid companies. Now, are some companies going to have problems? Yes. Are other companies going to grow? Absolutely. It's why we use a diversified portfolio mix. Because the sluggish ones and the bad ones will get washed out in the mix, but you don't get washed out with it. Okay? So here's some things to think about. One, ask yourself, do I have a proper vision for my financial future? If not, that's where you start, defining the vivid vision. Okay. Second, if I have the vision, do I have a detailed plan to make the vision a reality? Okay. Like a detailed plan, not just a prayer or a pencil paper. Like really you've gone through, or someone has helped you go through it. I do this with my clients, helped you go through and build a plan that takes into consideration, when do you want to stop working? When do you want to do this? You might take vacations once a year, every other year. You might replace a car every 5 years. That literally thinks through all the details, that you have a plan in place. Then, so vision, plan, and number three, then if I have the plan, then what is the proper strategy to put the plan into action? Meaning portfolio mix, your risk tolerance, your risk profile, what I call a risk triad in my book. Do I have the proper strategy? Now we can sit back and say, what are the tactics? Tactics are, what am I investing in? Is it REITs? Is it S&P 500? Is it international? Am I using a target date fund? Those kinds of things. And we do it in this priority. And then the last is then I can take actions. But we can't do it the other way. It has to start with the vision. Second, the plan. Third, the strategy. Fourth, the tactics. And fifth, the action steps. When you do it that way, and something like this happens today, you look at it and say, okay, let me go back. Vision's intact. Does the plan still make sense? Are there any changes? Okay. Does the strategy still fit the plan? Great. Are the tactics appropriate for the strategy? Yes. Do I need to take any actions? That's it. That's what we're doing. I had a conversation with my team today, but it had nothing to do with the market. It had to do with some planning things we were doing for the end of the year. Am I going to call them and go, oh my God, what do we do? No, because I already know that we have the vision, the plan, the strategy in place. Everything's running. I know what they're going to do. They know what I want them to do. So I tell you this because I don't want you to get caught up in what I think is you're going to see on social media, and everything. They're going to be screaming Armageddon. They're going to be screaming, oh my gosh, this is, the end of the whatever. They're going to stir up some emotion because they know that it gets ratings, advertisers, and viewers, and it gets people talking. But for me, it gets people panicked. It doesn't serve. It erodes the quality of your life. It erodes the conversations. It erodes the logic behind it. And so I felt compelled, before I go on my walk with my puppies, to get on here live and say, y'all, sleep easy tonight, okay? Sleep fine. This happens. 6 times in 24 years, the market ended up down when something like this happened. 18 times it ended up up, okay? And so it's important for us to look at it through those eyes. I want you to settle down. If you have questions, if there's something that worries you, if you're in a situation where you're concerned, then ping me. Now, I can't give you advice because you're not a client of mine, and I don't do that, but I can hopefully give you perspective and make sure that you're getting the right advice from your advisors. Now, if you're not in the right strategy or you're not in the right structure, then that might have to be changed, okay? But by and large, market goes down, market goes back up. But usually the market continues. If you look at a long-term chart of the market, it's doing this in the short term, but it's doing this, and every time it's going higher and higher and higher. It's still at an angle up. That's why long-term view is the proper way. The longer our view is, the higher the probability of success. Now, if you're sitting back saying, I got all my money in the stock market and I need it next week, we got a problem. But it's because we have the wrong strategy in place and we have the wrong plan in place. It's not the market, it's the strategy and plan. So we got to get those dialed in for you to make sure that you can sustain yourself. But bottom line is this. I don't want anyone to panic. Okay? Like I said, I lost 170,000 in an hour today. Do you see me crying? No. Am I going to eat ice cream tonight? Maybe a little bit. But am I freaking out? No, I'm not. It's another day in the market, and there have been days that the market jumps 500-600 points. Okay, just the same. When the market goes up like that, do I get exuberant and greedy? No. Keep the emotions in check. If I start to feel the emotions coming up for any reason, then I need to step back, because if I make an emotional financial decision, typically it is wrong. So it is important for us to leave our emotions out of the financial decisions. And if you need help with that, stay in touch with me, stay on Instagram with me, on YouTube with me, follow my podcast, because like I said, I'm not selling investments. I'm not selling insurance. I want you to be, the tagline for my show is to help you master your money and remove financial stress so you can live a life of choice. Mastering your money will start with mastering your emotions around money, your stories around money, and do that. So it is really important for us to look at it through those eyes. Okay. So that's what I had. I wanted to jump in here. I just felt like if I don't do this, then I leave you to make the interpretation on your own, and do that. And I don't want you to do that. I want to kind of give you a perspective from, look, I've had decades in the market. So I'm trying to give you a perspective so we don't panic. We do the right things. We stay, if we're in the right strategy and the right plan, we stay with the right strategy and the right plan. If we're not, we make some adjustments, okay? But it's a time for us to reflect, analyze, but not emotionalize, if that's a word. It's a word now, okay? And do it that way. All right, y'all? That's all I had. Thank you, Jason, man. It's so good to have you on the journey with us. Oh yeah, it did. Philip, my portfolio got hit. Bottom line is I lost 170 grand, more, almost 180, whatever. Okay. It'll come back. I'm not worried about it. I've had it happen before. Okay. And so I get it, and I'm okay with it. Now, if I needed the money tomorrow, I'd be freaking out a little bit. But I don't need the money tomorrow. And that's the purpose of a plan. Okay. So am I hoping for it to go back up? Yeah, it would be nice to just keep the numbers green. Let's keep them green, But, when I looked at it, I was doing calls today, and then I saw that Powell had spoke, and I looked up and I go, because I have my stock charts up here. I watch the market. It's all up here. I've got two screens here. I've got one screen here. I've got so I've got all kinds of stuff going on. And I saw the red, and I go, uh-oh. So, but bottom line is this, y'all. This is the time for you to make sure that you have the right vision, the right plan, the right strategy. Make sure that your emotions are out of the game, and that thank you, Marco, and make sure that you're making logical decisions based on principles that have withstood the test of time. Okay, and we'll make sure that you're safe and doing the right things. Now, that also means aside from the investing, is that you're managing and mastering your money properly. If you're doing that, then this won't hit you as hard either, because you're following a process. And the process I outline is in chapter 12 of the book. Okay. I talk about the wealth priority ladder that gives you a solid foundation. My job, I believe, is to give you an unshakable foundation first, because without it, you can't grow. So I want to get you safety. I want to get you a foundation. And I do that through the wealth priority ladder by having you do certain things with your money in a certain order that allows you that if things happen, it might get you to eat ice cream for a weekend, but it isn't going to destroy you. That's what I want. Okay. And do it that way. And I have my family, my pup, and my roof over my head. Amen, Jason. So that's it. Make sure that right now you're spending your time mastering money principles, understanding wealth principles. If I can help you on that, then join me on the journey. On my show, my podcast, my YouTube channel, my book, and all of that stuff. Let's bring cake with it too. I'm good with that, Minnie. And so this is a time for you. Don't depend on other people. Don't delegate your financial future to anyone, even advisors. My team, I got probably the best team out there. And I am still very involved. They do not do things without my input. So I didn't just hand it over and say, you do it. That's a mistake. My own mother, when she was alive, okay, we lost her in September, but when she was alive, she said, do I really need to go to these advisor, conferences and talk with them? And I said, yes, you do. And she says, but why? I said, because it's your money. And she said, but I have you. I said, well, don't trust me. And she says, wait, you're my son. I said, I know, but how many family members stole from family members? Not that I would ever do that, but I just want you to be involved. And I said, the only thing I want you to do is to get the starting balance, figure out what you spent, figure out what you came in, make sure they did the math right. At least you're checking the pulse on the patient. We all got to be the one that checks the pulse on the patient and not relinquish that responsibility to someone else. Now, you don't need to be this big analyst. You don't need to have stock charts and everything up like I do. You simply need to understand some fundamental principles so you can ask right questions, difficult questions that your team or whoever is advising you will need to answer. And if they can't, they're the wrong people. But I want you to have your hands on the wheel, and whoever is assisting you, if you have anyone, they're to the right and left of you, but you're the captain. That's the way this game's got to be played. Okay? All right, y'all. Hopefully I settled you down. Hopefully it gives you a little peace. I will watch the market. I will Jenna, so good to see you. I will watch the market, and I may be back on live tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. But my job is hopefully to kind of guide you, be that person that gives you some sanity, give you some perspective. And Jason, yeah, we don't need to be a numbers nerd, but we do need to understand a bit what they mean, so you know the right choices. And if it doesn't smell right, doesn't feel right, then you can get out and you can get additional perspective. So do that. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go walk my puppies, my two sheep doodles. Otherwise, they'll be hell to pay tonight because I'll have 2 75-pound dogs all jacked up with energy and nowhere to go but run around the house. But you guys have an incredible evening. Sleep peacefully. Know that markets do this, and know that markets always come back, right? They will recover. You will recover. And let's make sure that you have the right vision, plan, strategy in place, then we'll get the tactics in place. All right, y'all? You have a blessed evening. Doodles are the best. Yes, they are. Have a blessed evening. And like I said, if something comes up, you have questions, reach out. Let me know. Let me know. All right? Let's see what we can do. All right? Cheers to y'all. Have a great one.